It took me 50 years for my nervous system to stop living in survival. Yeah, that's not something people usually say out loud. You know what's strange? From the outside, everything looked fine. Career was moving. Life was stable. People used words like disciplined, focused, reliable. I was that guy. But inside, my nervous system never stood down. It was always alert, always scanning, always braced for the next thing. Not panic, not anxiety attacks, just on, all the time. And that's the confusing part, because when you're functioning, when you're producing, when things are technically working, no one tells you to check the state you're running on. They just say, good, keep going. So you do. I didn't feel broken. I didn't feel weak. I felt responsible. Like if I relaxed, something important would fall apart. So I stayed sharp, stayed ready, stayed tight. My nervous system learned one rule early on: don't let go. And honestly, it worked. For a long time. That's why this is hard to explain. Because nothing collapsed. There was no dramatic burnout moment, no big warning sign, just years of being slightly clenched. You wake up tired, but not tired enough to stop. You rest, but it doesn't really land. You sit still, and your body doesn't believe it. So you move again. Somewhere along the way, you start calling that drive. You call it ambition. You call it strength. I did. No one corrected me. What I didn't understand back then was that my nervous system wasn't strong. It was just stuck in survival. And survival doesn't feel dangerous when everyone around you is applauding it. Strange thing, my life didn't look stressful. But my nervous system never felt safe. I wasn't anxious. I was prepared. Prepared for emails, prepared for problems, prepared for things that didn't happen yet. That's the trap. When your nervous system calls readiness responsibility, I thought I was disciplined. Turns out, I was just never relaxed. Here's something no one says. You can be calm on the surface and still live in survival underneath. I could sit still. But my body was waiting. Waiting for what? I had no idea. That's how survival mode hides. It doesn't scream. It hums. I didn't need motivation. I needed safety. And those are not the same thing. Every time I pushed harder, people clapped. Every time I ignored my body, things worked. So why would I stop? That's the dangerous part. Survival mode is rewarded. I called it ambition. My nervous system called it threat. Here's a quiet truth. Your nervous system doesn't care about your goals. It cares about danger. And I trained it to expect danger everywhere. Deadlines, silence, rest. Even rest felt suspicious. You know that feeling when you finally sit down and your body won't? Yeah, that. I used to think that meant I was driven. Now I know it meant I wasn't safe. Another unpopular thought: resilience isn't always strength. Sometimes it's just tolerance. I tolerated tension for decades. That's not growth, that's endurance. No one warned me that endurance has a cost. Your nervous system keeps the score, not in pain, in readiness. I didn't crash. I didn't burn out. I just lived, slightly braced, for years. And the scary part, I thought that was normal. Later, much later, I realized something simple. Nothing was wrong with me. My nervous system just never learned it was allowed to stop. That's when things shifted. Not when I added habits, not when I optimized routines, but when I removed pressure. When I stopped asking, what's next? And started noticing, am I safe right now? That question changed everything. Not because my life improved, but because I finally saw it. Nothing outside was broken. My nervous system had just been running without permission to stop. And that's when it clicked. Most of us aren't exhausted. We're just living from a system that was never meant to stay on this long.